Today I'm going to make a beat and I'm going to spill every last bit of free source, sound banks, effects plugins, everything that I've built up over the last 4 years of music production. Let's go. I'm going to do my best to use everything in the same project, so this will be interesting. First up, BBC Symphony Orchestra. The marimbas in here sound really nice. I also really like the bass, the cello, and the tuba. So let's layer those real quick. I use OTT a lot. It's a free compression plugin. If you haven't heard of it before, I don't know where you've been. Next up, we've got Decent Sampler. This is a free sample library. You can go to pianobook.com and download so many free banks. It's unreal. I'm gonna go through my favorite ones here right now. This one's called Family Grand. It's exactly what you imagine. It's a grand piano. More free source. I'm not sure if it was the last update or the update before. FL Studio released piano roll scripts. You can go on the FL forum page and download a bunch of free scripts that people have made. I use this one called Humanize a lot. It does exactly what the name says, just humanizes the MIDI notes. Then let's randomize it to exaggerate the velocities a little bit. Another great sounding one is Hove Flute. And then a really good reverb / delay plugin, Valhalla Supermassive. It's got this, the default preset has this interesting granular effect that sounds really nice. All right, I'm gonna halftime these marimbas with a free halftime plugin. Finally, there's a good one by Cymatics, Goat Company, Deja Vu. And then we're gonna pair that with a free LFO tool. It's not as robust as LFO tool, but it's simple. It's exactly what you need for a volume LFO. It does a little bit of frequency modulation as well, but if you just want like a quick gate that's easy and that's free and that's good, I use this religiously now. Another decent sampler bank. Mika's choir is a really great choir. It gives me like the theme to 13 Reasons Why vibes for some reason. Next up is this bank, Pitched Electric Celeste bank. The low notes on this thing for basses are insane. Then we have the RJ as guitar. I like the new strings preset. And then what I do is I route it to a mixer track. I put some sort of distortion on it. This Devil Lock by Sound Toys sounds really good. Crank the distortion on that. Put some reverb on there. Bring it right down because that distortion made it loud. That's a nice vibrato. The next one I have here is a Spell Singer. It's another vocal. It sounds crazy, bro. I don't know how you would describe it. It's kind of tribal singing in a sense. I'm gonna distort this as well actually. And then finally, in Decent Sampler, we've got all of the Venus Theory banks. All of these are good. I recommend you check these out. Okay, next up is Kontakt 7's free Kontakt player. The two main things I use are the free Orchestra by Project Sam and the Creative Toolbox drums and percussion. This Orchestra has so many insane sounds. Like these Pandora bursts, if this doesn't make you want to download this, then I don't know what will. These wretched rises are insane as well. And I also use these short strings all the time. I use the drums and the percussion bank library. I like to put a pattern in and then halftime this because it sounds super like tribal. And there are so many different types of percussion, like it goes all the way up here. All out to chimes, bro. We're gonna get through halftime on this again. Like, come on, bro. It's also got really good sounding live drums, in my opinion. I haven't tried a lot of different live drum VST banks or whatever. And it depends on what you're looking for specifically, but for my kind of sound and what I like, this is really good. Next on the list is the Monster VSTs. I mainly use the Ethnica and the saxophone. There's like these perc loops inside here that I use a lot in the percussion instruments. They're not really time stretched properly, so you have to finesse them, but... This is the piano. It's a really basic one. It has a bunch of different presets. Then we have the Monster Sax. I spent so long trying to find a free saxophone that sounded good, and this is it, bro. This is as good as it gets. You got the key switches down the bottom to change the different articulations. The next free effect that I'm going to use is called D-Blue Glitch. It's kind of like a free effect tricks, if you've ever heard of that. We're going to use it to manipulate this perc loop. Alright, cool. Next up is one of my personal favorites. We've got OBXD. This synth is crazy. I use it all the time. It has some of my favorite presets. Like, you can make such simple melodies sound fire with this plugin. It's too easy. The next one is kind of a fun one, but I really like Pendulate. This is the interface. It's really simple and the presets are super fun. And it's really like intuitive to manipulate the sounds. At least for me, I struggle a lot in bigger synths like Serum because I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to make it sound cooler. And you can't really go wrong when you mess with all these parameters inside Pendulate. So for that reason, it's dope. Alright, this next one is a big one. Sign Player. I really like the studio percussion. That sounds really high quality. The strings sound really good. The horns I've used a lot. The ukulele sounds great. I use the felt piano a lot. And I also use the P bass inside of this electric bass here. So let's show you a bit of what it sounds like. There are a couple small downsides to this plugin. You have to remember to remove an articulation if you end up cloning this to use another sound. And sometimes when you play a lot of notes together, it just refuses to play some of the notes. If you play around with the MIDI, I'm not exactly sure what triggers it, but you can eventually get it to do what you want. But that is something that I have noticed. This P bass, I almost always drive it through Decapitator and boost the low end. We're working our way down now, and I'm going to use 3 of these plugins together because they're all pretty similar. We've got Surge XT, Triple Cheese by Yuhi, and we've got Synth Master Player. All great synths with a load of presets. And now next up on the list, we have, if you've been paying attention back towards the beginning of the episode, the same guy whose decent sampler banks I recommended has his own plugin now. It works within UVI Workstation and it's called Noctua. It sounds really great. The end of my list and my CPU. We have two more. Virgin Choir is a great, simple, free choir. And of course, again, if you haven't been living under a rock or wherever you would have to live to not have heard about this plugin, we have Vital. I found this a lot easier to learn than Serum, but maybe that's just me. I've made some disgusting basses in here. Obviously, you can do a lot more than that, but with my limited sound design skills, this is what I've come up with. And that comes to the end of my free VSTs. Now I'm going to throw drums on all of these loops and I'm going to introduce you to some effect plugins. Here's a free effect that I use religiously on basses and 808s, Ruiner. This is one of the greatest creative distortion plugins I've ever heard, and it's free. This buzz is so nasty. Cymatics has another insane effects plugin that came out recently. It's like this chorus tape wobble effect that sounds really good. Fresh Air is fantastic for vocals. I don't use it very much for any other purpose. You can put it on the master just to brighten it up a little bit, but a little bit goes a long way with this plugin. If you use too much, it can be a little bit harsh, so keep that in mind. Magic Dice is really great too. I think under the hood, it's got like 20 different types of modulations and you just press the dice to randomize it. You got a mix level here, whether you want it wet or dry. Codec is a really interesting one because it destroys the audio. I like to automate it for like the end of songs and stuff to make it sound like it's breaking up and degrading as a cool like. Jesus fucking Christ. And then finally, this is another plugin I use all the time, D-Blue Tape Stop. If you automate the trigger, you get one of the coolest sounding tape stops I think there is, and of course it's free, so what's not to love? Another really unique thing you can do with this plugin is have the slowdown at 0.01 and then automate the trigger to go on. You want to render that out and then you can reverse that into the intro of your song. I'm going to render this out and then we're going to play it the whole way through. Okay, let's see how we go. 3, 2, 1, go. So this is BBC Symphony Orchestra and a little bit of decent sampler. And then we're going to go into the decent sampler melody. Orchestra by Project Sam. And then the Monster VSTs. Got the piano, the sax, the percs, the pan flute. And then OBXT and Pendulate. Next up we got sign player, piano, horns, bass, a little bit of strings. And then we have Surge XT, Triple Cheese, Synthmaster player, and Noctua. And finally, Virgin Choir and Vital. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.